This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. It's official. This week, the Virgin Islands Board of Elections finished counting all the ballots from this month's Democratic primary election. They counted the absentee ballots in both districts, and winners will go on to November's election. The big race, of course, for VI Governor incumbent Albert Bryan Jr. and Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach won handily with 4,269 votes and 65% of the vote. 6,564 votes were cast in the governor's race. And for Angel Boquez, who was recently appointed to the seat, left vacant by Stephen Payne after his colleagues voted to remove Payne amid sexual assault and harassment allegations, Boquez officially earning the seat from the voters, winning in a landslide with more than 3,700 votes, which was 77% of the vote. To see the official vote counts, you can visit the election system's website at vivote.gov. More now in a story we brought you earlier this week here on USVI News on the exciting news on the communication front that Liberty USVI will bring optic fiber to all USVI homes and businesses. Company leaders making the announcement in St. Thomas on Tuesday. The ultra-fast fiber optic internet will be available on all islands. During the event, Liberty also announced a new campaign highlighting the benefits of combining home and mobile internet services with Liberty. The build-out of the fiber optic broadband is set to be completed by 2026. And this comes as Liberty continues to expand its 5G network in the USVI, which has already happened in 60% of USVI cell sites and should be completed by the end of this year. Here's more on this exciting news from Liberty leaders.
So our goal, our motto is we want to bring broadband to every household because that's actually going to help in the growth of the economy, in the growth of people in the islands. And we want to bring the best network to the islands as possible. Fiber is going to make that happen. We're talking about speeds from 50 megabits per second to 1 gigabit per second. Symmetrical, not asymmetrical. So upload and download speeds about the same, right? And at affordable prices. With this, everyone will have access to fiber fast internet at affordable pricing. More mobile coverage and capacity and 5G speeds throughout the island. And better offers and benefits when you combine the telecom services. To do all this, we're going to do construction keeping the Virgin Islanders in mind, right? So we're bringing new technology and effective coordination and communication. That's a promise that we make. The Liberty locations, so you've seen the Liberty mobile locations where we're selling and serving wireless. Those locations will now also be able to sell and serve broadband also. So customers can go to one place and buy both mobile and broadband. And we are bringing new rates and better offers for combined customers. So if someone has both wireless and broadband, they will get better rates as well.
We are excited. We're excited about building. We're excited about bringing connectivity to everybody at USVI. This is extremely important. It is actually quite rare to be a part of such a major transformation. There are literally very few countries in the world that have brought fiber to every home in their communities. Japan hasn't done it. Mainland United States haven't done it. The United Kingdom hasn't done it. France hasn't done it. There is hardly any countries that ever built fiber to every home in their communities. But we're going to do it. We are all going to do it. And it is actually extremely exciting.
I just wanted to focus on one point that I think is very important, and that goes back to commitment. Our commitment, is strong. We've delivered on our promises, and we will continue. We have targets, we have goals. We want to meet them, and we have the right team, we have the right support. We're solid financially. We have a great team on the ground, and myself, my superior, the management team, you'll hear from Ban himself, we're committed. We are committed to making this happen. And we deliver on our promises.
Yeah, certainly great news for Virgin Islanders. Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin continues to wage war in Ukraine. Many international relations educators are warning congressional members to keep an eye out for Putin's influence in our own backyard. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
As the world continues to watch Russia's war in Ukraine, members in a House Foreign Relations Subcommittee noticed how some of our fellow Western Hemisphere neighbors reacted to the invasion.
Russia has steadily shored up its presence in Latin America and the Caribbean,
which could show how much influence Russia has in the nearby region.
Many governments on all sides of the ideologic spectrum have failed to address Russia's invasion of Ukraine. For instance, El Salvador was one of the countries that abstained from a UN vote condemning Russia's invasion, and Mexico's president has consistently telegraphed his neutrality. Worse, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Venezuela shamelessly supported Putin ahead of the invasion.
Members worry Russia's direct and indirect presence in the Western Hemisphere could cause instability and security concerns. International relations educators say Russia has built up an influence in the region by creating close relationships with Latin American dictators, broadcasting Russia propaganda in Spanish languages, even having intelligence agencies placed throughout the region.
President Putin tries to attract any country that feels slighted by the United States while taking advantage of lingering historical fears about U.S. and Western imperialism.
While many say U.S. foreign policy and investment in Latin America has taken a back seat, they see opportunities the U.S. could use to weaken Putin's hold in the region.
This is particularly evident, I believe, in the case of Venezuela, where a limited U.S. engagement in the energy sector could become a game changer and eventually reduce other threats to security in the region, including illegal drug trafficking and the refugee crisis.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp, USVI News.
It has been a difficult year to travel with widespread flight cancellations, delays, and lost baggage nationwide. With that in mind, though, the Points Guy is releasing its 6th annual Best Airlines report to help consumers choose which carrier to fly on when booking their next getaway. Trinity Chavez reports.
For the 4th year in a row, Delta Airlines is the #1 airline. That's according to a new report from the Points Guy.
We actually put some weight this year on family travel. And the airlines that are nice to families, Delta now actually has family seating, so that got them a little extra love.
The Points Guy CEO and founder, Brian Kelly, appeared on CBS Mornings to discuss how his company ranked the top 10, which put Southwest at #2, United #3, American #4, and Alaska Airlines at #5. He says there are 4 main factors: reliability, the overall experience, cost and number of destinations, and finally, loyalty perks.
The funny thing is Delta didn't actually come in #1 in any of those categories, but they posted really strong. They're also the most expensive airline, so consumers are willing to pay to be treated like humans. I think that's the key theme we're seeing.
Southwest ranked #1 in terms of costs and number of destinations, while United scored the highest among frequent flyers. What are your thoughts when it comes to booking your travel?
Well, I book for reliability, comfort, points also.
The ranking comes during a difficult year for air travelers. U.S.-based airlines canceled more than 120,000 flights through July, but experts say there are ways travelers can make their trip smoother.
Always check to see where your aircraft's coming in from. You can set alerts for your flight. Always get the airline app.
Another tip, if you're delayed and need to get a hotel room, airlines usually won't cover that, but there are credit cards that offer flight delay and interruption coverage.
Hawaiian Airlines ranked the highest in reliability, with more than 90% of its flights arriving on time, which may not be surprising considering it doesn't fly to many cold weather destinations where snowstorms are an issue. Delta came in second place with just 1.25 complaints for every 100,000 passengers. The FDA has announced it has finalized a rule allowing retailers to sell hearing aids for some adults over the counter. The devices aren't always covered by insurance, are often very expensive, and haven't been easy for people to get. But this decision may help change that. Here's more on the ruling and when it goes into effect.
It's an historic FDA ruling for people over the age of 18 with mild or moderate hearing problems. By mid-October, hearing aids that might help them will be available over the counter.
We have one set of ears, so it's incredibly important that we treat them well.
The decision will allow people to buy hearing aids directly from stores or online without a medical exam or prescription. The FDA says close to 30 million adults in the U.S. may need the devices. The agency says this rule will make getting the devices easier and more affordable.
When hearing isn't managed appropriately, it can have all sorts of consequences, from feelings of social isolation to anxiety to depression.
The Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Sarah Sidlowski, who's president of the American Academy of Audiology, calls this a wonderful first step, but says over-the-counter hearing aids won't be the final step for many, especially those who have more significant hearing problems.
Anytime that someone questions how it feels, how it sounds, whether their hearing perhaps is only in one ear or happens suddenly, or if they have any kind of drainage, they should absolutely bypass over-the-counter hearing aids and come directly to an audiologist.
The FDA says the rule applies to certain air conduction hearing aids intended for severe hearing impairment, or hearing aids for those under the age of 18 will continue to be prescription devices under the rule.